So people often practice mindfulness with the intention of feeling happier and calmer and all that jazz. And then when that doesn't happen, they start to feel like the mindfulness thing doesn't work or they're not very good at mindfulness. But what if I told you that mindfulness is not actually meant to be a positive experience all the time, and it can actually be very beneficial for you to have painful experiences? In this video, I'm going to talk about why that's the case and why it can be very helpful for us to have poor experiences in the context of mindfulness. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Parky. I'm a postdoctoral fellow in clinical psychology at Stanford University. I've been studying and practicing evidence-based mental health for the better part of a decade, and I'd love to share some of that information with you. So when I'm practicing mindfulness with my patients, I often get one of two responses. So group one kind of says, wow, that was an incredible experience. I felt so much calmer. This was such a wonderful practice. And then there's a second group that's like, actually, that was kind of hard for me. Like my mind was just constantly racing around and I felt so uncomfortable the entire time. It was just such a crappy experience. I don't know if I was doing it right. And in both cases, my responses is always the same, which is, that's wonderful, like really great job for noticing. And the reason why that's my response is because relaxing you isn't the intention of mindfulness practice. That's what relaxation exercises are for, like breathing exercises or guided imagery. Rather, the point of mindfulness practice is really to just be aware of what is going on in your current environment, in your current body, and just allow that to be just as it is. So Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, who was the guy who basically popularized mindfulness in the context of Western psychology, basically defined mindfulness as the awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment in a non-judgmental way. And let's kind of break that down into a few of its parts. So the first is that it's on purpose. There's an intentionality associated with it where you are making the intention to be here in the present moment, noticing what is going on both in the environment and in your own body, what thoughts are arising, what emotions arise, what physical sensations arise. And you're doing all this in a non-judgmental way. So you're not evaluating the experience as good or bad, or this is good, that's terrible, but rather you're just saying, hey, this is my experience right now, and I'm just allowing it to be just as it is. And when we can allow these experiences, especially the painful ones like chronic pain or scary thoughts or anxiety, if we can allow them to be just as they are, some really amazing things can happen. So the first reason why this can be helpful is because it doesn't allow pain to turn into suffering. So when we experience a painful emotion or a painful moment, as everybody does from time to time, when we have a negative judgment towards that pain, we essentially suffer twice. We suffer once because of the pain, and then we suffer a second time because of our response to the pain. So let's take chronic pain as an example, which is obviously a terrible condition and is really painful in and of itself. But if we have reactions, for example, like, this pain is really horrible, I hate it, I wish this didn't happen to me, we're basically adding a second level of suffering rather than just experiencing the pain itself. If we're able to accept that, hey, this pain is existing right now and I allow it to just be as it is, then we don't have to add sort of fuel to the fire and double our suffering from our judgments to it. A second reason why it can be helpful to turn towards our painful experiences is because then we can face the facts of life just as it is. Like, we're not trying to turn away from reality or thinking about how the world should be, is that this is how the world is right now, and I'm gonna look at it and face the facts and then be able to operate effectively. What can I do in this situation given how I'm experiencing life, given the painful conditions I'm experiencing? How can I react to it in a way that's gonna be effective towards my goals and my values? So to apply this principle in the context of chronic pain, what you could say to yourself is essentially, hey, I don't really like this, it's not preferable, and it is very uncomfortable. At the same time, this is my reality right now. What can I do in this moment to still continue to live a life worth living? How can I still move towards my values in spite of the pain that I'm experiencing? And with accepting these painful experiences, we begin to change our relationship with the experiences in general. That we begin to see maybe some sort of wisdom that comes from these experiences, for example, with anxiety, that it's really here to protect us, or that other experiences, we don't always have to put so much importance in them. Sometimes we have like a thought like, I'm a loser or I'm worthless, and we put so much salience into the thought and we treat it as if it were a fact. But in reality, if we were to take a mindful approach to it, a thought is just a thought. A thought is not a fact. We don't actually have to engage with it, and then as a result, the thought loses power over us. So the next time that you're practicing mindfulness, I really encourage you to try not to judge the experience as bad or good, or that you did a good job or you didn't do a very good job, because the whole point of mindfulness is really just to accept whatever is coming up just as it is in a non-judgmental way. And the moment that you're able to notice these experiences, notice the judgments, notice that you went to the past or worried about the future, and you brought yourself back into the present moment, that awareness is mindfulness. So I would even congratulate yourself for being able to say, oh, like I noticed that happening. Now let me bring myself back. into the present moment, because that's what mindfulness is. And remember, just like everything else, mindfulness requires practice. So every time you practice mindfulness, it's kind of like you're building your mindfulness muscle, you're getting your reps in. And if you're paying attention to me right now, making a commitment to be in the present moment, listening to what I'm saying, that in and of itself is already mindfulness. So that awareness is mindfulness. So you already got your first rep in. Congratulations. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I encourage you to subscribe, because I'll be continuing to talk more about mindfulness and other evidence-based strategies to support your mental health down the road. Take care.